Hello, and welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney. Here, this is the place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Today, we've got a brand new show. This is a brand new take on the podcast. We are doing a podcast potluck with three innovative trailblazers in the world of top podcasting. We've got Lady Louise Dewey. She is the baby boomer babe. We have Margot Lovett, her business, her voice, her conversation, and we have RJ Jackson, conversations on courage. These ladies have come together with me to share some snacks and talk to you a little bit about what's going on in the podcasting world and how they got involved and how you can get involved and get tuned in and get turned up to their podcast. So we want to jump right in and talk to Margot Lovett. How are you, Margot?
I am wonderful, April. Thank you for this wonderful forum. Girl, I'm loving every minute of this.
I'm loving you too. I'm loving on you. I know that you got to get together and you got to get out and get and do something. So we want to talk to you a minute and find out. Tell us a little bit about her business, her voice, and her conversation, and how you got started podcasting of all things.
Oh, man. Her business, her voice, her conversation is all about my story, pretty much, and I project it off on other people. We come out of corporate America, and we do have the audacity to become authors, speakers, entrepreneurs. I did it, and my story is to let the world know, especially women, you can do the same thing. You don't have to have the corner office. You don't have to be the CEO. But when you come out of corporate, you can reinvent yourself. And it's something that I find a lot of joy in because I bring on the guests, the branding strategists, the marketing people that teach us how to write books and how do we get that speaking career started and all of those good things. How do I become a startup that's going to be successful and do all of that good stuff and feel good about myself, take care of myself, and still enjoy my life. It's a lot. But that's why I bring the experts on, and every week we chop it up for 30 minutes, and people are helped. People are transforming their lives.
Thank you so much for what you do. That is so important. And now, transforming their lives and having courage, we've got RJ Jackson. How you doing there, RJ?
I am fantastic, beautiful. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I can't complain about a thing. I got my ladies here with me, enjoying the potluck. Tell our brains about the conversation on courage. Where'd you find your courage to podcast?
That's a great question, April. I actually am a professional speaker, and I started out full-time many, many years ago. And to add to my venue, I wanted to use the airways, so I got involved in radio. And I absolutely loved doing radio. So as I continued to do radio, had a couple of shows, then I suddenly took a hiatus, and all of a sudden the word podcast became a part of my vocabulary. And I said, well, I got courage. I'm a courage giver. Let's try podcasting. Didn't know a thing about it, girl. Didn't know a thing about it. It's so interesting, too. Let me just share this with you. As soon as I got ready to start podcasting, I had a major car accident. Major, life-threatening car accident. So I had everything set up. And as a result of the accident, I had my neurologist calls it a scar on the brain. So I wasn't able to talk. So I actually couldn't do podcasting. I had it set up to do it, but I couldn't do it.
Wow.
And one day, I was just feeling down because my whole life had shifted and changed. And my why came over. And some people say their ex. I say my why. Like, why we get married? Why we get divorced? And why are you calling me right now? Well, anyway. He came over and he said, come on, I'm going to take you out. What do you want to do? And he said, remember you said you wanted to do podcasting? But because I had that scar on my brain, I couldn't even remember I said I wanted to do that. But he reminded me that I had that dream. And he went out and bought all the equipment for me to do podcasting.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. That is incredible. That's incredible. And now we have straight out of Texas, we have Lady Louise Dewey. How you doing, Lady Louise?
Oh, I
She's
am
the
wonderful.
host of the Baby Boomer Babe, and I really like your premise. Your podcast is geared around seniors, people over 50. I remember when I first met you, you said, "Oh, you're gonna love my show. This is geared right in your age group," and I had to realize, oh my God, I was over 50. Who does that? But I look on your podcast and I look on your news feed on Facebook, and you have so many things that bring back my childhood, so nostalgic. How did you get started in podcasting?
Well, my middle initials are MSU, and that stands for Make Stuff Up. So I made it up. Sometimes we have to do that.
Yeah.
And being a senior, I'm 73. I just keep on trucking. I don't get older. I add 7 and 3, and I'm only 10. So we don't have to age. And I want to help other seniors to know that they can be as young as they choose.
Well, and again, it's a choice. It's, age is a matter of mind. If you don't mind, it don't matter. So what happened with me? Well, I'm a trained orator and public speaker, and a dear friend of mine said, "Hey, baby girl, come co-host with me on my nationally syndicated radio shows." Baby, when I heard my voice and I heard the questions and I got the response from the crowd, I knew I had arrived. And I was like, wow, podcasting. So I normally don't do a lot of visual, but I really wanted to get us all together to, number one, give us more exposure, because podcasting is the new media forefront right now. People are looking for a texture. They're looking for a vibe. They're looking for a mission. They're looking for a host. They're looking for the underdiscovered talent. And so I'm really finding that podcasting is soaring. So thank you so much for being with me for the first podcast Potluck. And we're going to be doing this every month here on The Edge. I want to talk to you a little bit, Margot, about, your key to success. How are you finding your niche in the podcast market? Because again, there's a lot of podcasters out there. What's your lane, and how are you differentiating from the pack?
I think my lane, April, is the fact that I'm not pulling straws and I'm talking to just everybody. Some people take that shotgun approach, but it's mainly the baby boomer female who's coming out of corporate that I build everything around. And I hang out there in LinkedIn, on Facebook quite a bit, but LinkedIn, and that's the demographic that I speak to and seem to resonate with. The show's doing quite well over on iHeartRadio and, of course, over on iTunes. Verkay Radio, the power of women.
Right.
Oh, my God, what a powerful, powerful station. So it's all in positioning and being consistent. If you tell somebody that you're going to have that show on every week, that's what they're looking for. And I'm well over 70 shows, no duplications. Glory be to God.
Yeah.
And it's it's that thing of being consistent. And if you mess up, then it's okay. Own it and keep on going, honey. But I think people like that authenticity. They like the fact that you don't have it all together, that I'm not trying to tell people, yeah, I quit corporate and now I'm making a $1 million a year. You got to keep it real. Come on, girl. You only quit 2 years ago. So come on, you got yourself a mentor, a coach, but you decided that you're going to do this and you're staying consistent. So I think that's what makes all of the difference.
It does. And then you have to incorporate courage. Okay, yes. So RJ, how did you come up with the concept of conversations on courage, and what do we need to be courageous? How do we find our courage? Maybe I ought to ask you that too. How do we find our courage? You found yours. Help us find ours.
Conversations on Courage came from one of my first books that I published called Conversations of Courage, where we invited women to partner with us to share their story. Because the truth is, everyone has a story. And sometimes we're afraid to tell our story because we fear people will judge us. We fear we're not good enough. And we fear we have to compare ourselves to other women. So I wanted women to understand that they're beautiful from the inside out. And your courage actually comes from knowing who you are. And everything in our culture, especially right now, tells us to pretend we're somebody we are not. So that we can get likes and loves and hearts and all these things, right? But Margot said it best. Look, right here, being authentic.
Okay, all right.
Right? Like, what woman doesn't understand this right here?
Yes.
When you know who you are, life has meaning. Right? Woo! Life has meaning. And we're too busy as women trying to be someone we're not. So courage comes from knowing that you are, just as you are, good enough.
That's right.
And I know who I am.
That's right. That's right. And
I know who I am. So because I know, I have the courage to be me, authentically me.
All right. Well, you know, that word authentic is a big $25 word. And, you know, some people don't even know how to show up, much less try to be authentic. So, you know, it takes courage and it takes devotion. Lady Lou, tell us the demographic that you work with. I know that you are very affluent and you are a networker extraordinaire, but your demographic is for people over 50 and they're really not as computer savvy or as engaged. Tell us what you do for your population and the focus of your podcast, The Baby Boomer Babe.
Thank you. Well, my demographics, as you say, are the over 50. And a lot of those are still working. They're not retired yet. But they're looking forward to retiring, even at 50. And then when they hit 60, they're really looking forward to retiring. And then they start to think, well, what am I going to do when I retire? Because I know if they're like anything like me, they're not going to want to just retire and go sit in that rocking chair. They're going to want to do something, maybe even start another little business. I've started 3 little businesses since I turned 73. I don't intend to stop. You just start the next one. Some of them fail and some of them don't. But it's the idea that, like RJ says, the courage to keep on going and to do the next one. Well, maybe this one's the niche I'm looking for. You never quit looking and you never quit trying and you never quit seeking the next thing that will make you happy. Because it's not about other people making us happy. It's about finding what makes us happy from within, if nothing else. And then when you're happy within, what you do without makes you happy too. And I plan to be happy the rest of my life and only do what I love. And women need that choice.
That's right. Have women and men. You know, men are really getting a hit across the head right now, and they probably should because they've been doing some bad stuff. And women are about to take over the planet. So I tell everybody, you better fasten your seatbelt. But with that, you know, like I said, it's valuing yourself. It is positioning yourself. It is taking on that hunter and gatherer dynamic that we get from men. And so I want to ask you, Margot, a couple things. One, what is some of your keys to success? What are some of the things that you have done in your podcast that have really thrusted you to the forefront and embraced women?
One thing for certain,
to do some great things.
One thing for certain that comes to mind is to write the book, and no fluff, no frills, easy read. This is my story. I was in first grade 2 times. You know, I take it all the way back to that. You know, but all of that, when you're growing up and you're becoming an adult, all of that comes along with you. And then, you know, I had a boyfriend that jumped on me, and you go through all of that, and then you get to corporate, and there's some verbal abuse, and you go through all of that. You have all of that story. I I don't hide any of that. It's no longer me, but I don't hide any of that, and I let other women know that is, if that's your story, come on, let's do it. I want you to write your book, because it took a lot of courage for me to go ahead and write my book. I've done 2 of them.
Well, where are they? Do you have them there on your desk?
No, I sure don't. Girl, I was too busy I was so busy trying to get it set up. I'm so sorry. But I know the titles. Her Business, Her Voice, Her Reinvention. How in 1 year, I went from game show hopping to international talk show host, author, and speaker. And hey, my strategist can tell you it's doggone true. I'm not embellishing anything. Honey, after I quit that job, I was game show hopping for a while. You just try to get your feet on the ground, and you have an idea about what you want to do, but to actually do it is another thing. So
right. Who is your target audience? You say that you work with women. Is it women entrepreneurs? Is it millennials? Who are you focusing on when you're bringing on your guests?
I'm focusing on the millennials and on the boomers also. And I started out with the boomers only, but there are so many millennials who are reaching out to me for information, and they come with good information, because I think it's Lady Lou who said something before while we were getting set up. We really need to speak to all generations, and us boomers have something for the millennials. Millennials have something for us also. They are very fearless when it comes to jumping from this job to the next job. And I think that they bring this element of change to us and keep us on our toes and make us tech savvy and really make us up our game. So I keep that in mind, and I'm very protective of my audience. I want to make sure that the people who come on are really bringing true value. Don't speak down to my folks. Don't do that now. We don't do that. But if you're coming and you're bringing value and it makes a lot of sense. I had a millennial who came on. I'm going to tell you this real quick. A millennial, Eva Bernardi, who came on. She's talking about alternative medicine. Fascinating conversation on energy and it was like on a totally different level where I could grasp it. And I thought, wow, this is not foo-foo at all. Mercury retrograde. I'm talking about that type of thing that really, hey, you know what? It opened up my eyes. Girl, and she's a millennial. But the girl brought the information. I said, hold on, everybody. We're going to get ready for a fire hose. And she brought that information. And do you know, that was a top flight show. It really was. Because all of us, how do we chakras and that type of thing? We hear about that type of thing. But you know what? I mean, boomers aren't necessarily talking about that, at least not the ones in my circle. So I bring on people who can enlarge our comprehension of the world around us and how we can really manifest and make things happen and live our lives to the best. Okay, I'm hogging the conversation, girl. You should have gave me the mic. Here I go. I love this kind of thing.
And that's why we podcast, because we are a different medium. We are not the mainstream media. We are not the fake news. Yeah. We keep it real. RJ, you have found courage. How do you find your guests? I know that you have a very unique demographic and that you are a phenomenal speaker. Tell us a little bit about your book, what's in the pages of your book, and how you find wonderful guests.
Well, I'm not sure which book you want me to talk about. I am currently a 4-time best-selling author.
Wow. Well,
and by the end of this month, we're going to change that number to 5. I have a book on the printer right now as we speak, entitled Life on the Other Side of Fear. And it's just to remind women that's where life happens, on the other side of fear, which is on the side of courage, right?
Right.
So all of my books talk about courage, because for me, that's what life is about, having courage. Your other question, how do I find my guests? I'm looking for people who will show up authentically and tell their story. So on Conversations on Courage, we don't talk about products. We don't push products. We pull people up to their greatness. And pulling people up to their greatness is holding them accountable to what's inside of them. So all of my guests have to understand, I'm not here to promote your product. I think our products sell themselves when we build relationships with people. So I look for guests who understand people over product.
All right. People over product equals purpose, and that's what I do on the Edge. I'm looking for people that are there to tell their truth, to differentiate themselves from the next entrepreneur, from the next coach, from the next healer, from the next nonprofit organization. I want to hear who you are, because everyone has a story. Everyone is on a journey, and it all intertwines and weaves together, but in a cohesive manner. And it's very, very important that we stay at the forefront and that we stay clear, because the world is, it's a lot of noise out there, a lot of noise, and there's a lot of distractions. And so what we want to do is we want to heighten and we want to magnify the goodness in the world and keep people on their course, because women, like I said, it's got to take over the planet. Okay, these men have to sit down and just chill, but we still need to be able to incorporate them in our lives, love them, and work with them. Now, Lady Lou, you have a very great demographic. What are you looking for when you're looking for your guests and products and services? I'm hearing somebody clicking. What y'all eating over there? I hear y'all clicking something. What y'all eating?
I don't know, but it sounds good.
So tell us, Lady Lou, here's to you. Tell us a little bit about the Baby Boomer Babe.
Well, I look for guests who have something to offer everyone, not just the seniors. I have had healers on who have done beautiful work on removing blocks from people, who have coaching type styles that can help seniors. Because once they've gotten out of corporate or out of their everyday career, sometimes they don't know where they want to go, and they know they're not going to go sit down someplace and just die. They've got things to do. They have purposes. They have goals. They just don't always know how to find them. So one of the ways is to be able to speak to them and have them say, yes, this is what I'm looking for, but I don't know how to get there. So part of that is networking. You've got to talk to people, tell everybody, what you want to, how you want it. And somebody's going to say, hey, I know about so-and-so that has this opening, or that they did it themselves. Maybe they would coach you. So it's about seeking relationships, like RJ was saying earlier. It is about relationships, and it's not just fluffy relationships. It's those where you can be real and be honest and say, I need help. And a lot of ladies, women in particular, don't know how to ask for help.
Right.
And it's so easy. It's just HELP. I need help. Or
Right.
Would you help me?
Right.
Or do you know someone? And women are always willing to share their resources. And I love that.
They are. And we are not crabs in a barrel. I tell people all the time, there's plenty of room at the top if you scoot your big fat butt over. Everybody's trying to do what everybody else is trying to do, and there's plenty of room. Everybody has their unique niche. I want to ask Margot really quick, because I know that you've got something you got to do, sweet thing. But I want to ask you really quickly before you leave, can you give us a couple turnkey approaches to your success and a couple words of wisdom or advice for someone that is looking to start a podcast?
I would say, you know what? Instead, the first thing that you don't want to do is go out and buy a bunch of expensive equipment, and you're going to tear out a room in your room in the house, and this is going to be my studio, and I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to talk to millions of people. Get yourself a coach. And here in LA, there's a Morris Media over on Crenshaw Boulevard. Johnny Morris is a legendary engineer here in Southern California, and his daughter has a studio. I would say get with somebody who's been in the business a long time. Take a couple of classes, because there are a lot of different tricks and things that you need to know about. Zoom. Stitcher, how do you upload? Get yourself a foundation. With everything, I think you always have to invest in your next move. And don't just Google it or Podcaster's Paradise or whatever. Those are good resources, but I would sit up under the tutelage of somebody who's doing it, who can streamline your learning curve, and then just go for it. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Oh, I can't podcast until I get Barack Obama, President Barack Obama, to be my first guest. Hey, get yourself some training and then just go for it. The snafus come up, who cares? That's life, that's broadcasting, that's podcasting. And decide that whatever happens, I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. Right. So those are my tips. And you know what, April, can I just say this? Thank you again. This is a wonderful forum. RJ, Lady Lou, I love sharing this time, but girl, I got to get on this 405, and it's a monster, it's a killer. So
tell people really quickly how to get in contact with you, because I don't want you stuck in the traffic, and I want you to relax when you get to your next destination.
Okay. I always tell people, go over to Bercay, BERCAY radio.com. That's where Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation is. That's where I stream, and downloads are there. And go, if you want a copy of Her Business, Her Voice, Her Reinvention, go over to herbusinesshervoice.com. I'm changing things around, so That's it.
All right. Well, I love you and I honor you, and I thank you so much for being here at the table with us. Come back. I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. We're going to hang out and we'll continue the conversation live.
Yes. And you know what? I have something I want to ask you also, Miss. This is the lady. You know what? A person who's brand new to podcasting. This April Mahoney is no joke. Get in contact with her and listen to her show.
I love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye. Bye, ladies.
Bye.
So now, RJ, let's jump on and see what you got on your plate. Tell us how you get your guests. How do you go about navigating, your Rolodex and finding the perfect guest that fits the platform for your show?
That's a great question. I don't have as much experience in podcasting as you ladies do. And so, first of all, I do exactly what Margot said. You find somebody to get up underneath and you learn from them. And I want to say, April, thank you for being one of those people that I've had an opportunity to get up underneath, sit at your feet, and learn from you what to do in podcasting. And I really appreciate that. And one of the best things you've ever shared with me regarding podcasting is how important it is to be consistent. So once I got those words from you, I consistently put out there that I'm looking for people who are authentic, who are true to their story, who are living the life that they're promoting on Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Facebook, that this is who they really are, and they have passion to help people live their best life. So I just put it out there on social media, and I ask for referrals, because nothing beats a referral. Somebody to speak for someone else and say, hey, this person, they represent. So I'm always looking for people to share with me other people who I may not know, who are doing amazing things. So I like to say it like this in answering your question. I look for ordinary people who are doing extraordinary things to make a difference in the lives of other people, and particularly women.
Wow, that is huge. Well, how I started was I went through my Rolodex, because that is the low-hanging fruit. These are people that you've already connected with. These are people that, you've had the warm fuzzy, you've had coffee with. Girl, give me your card. And then don't circle around and follow up. So that's what I did. I started flipping through my Rolodex and saying, wow, these people have texture. They have value. They're doctors. They're lawyers. Let me get them on the show and see what they can share. Lady Lou, share with us a little bit about the demographic that, that really support your listeners, your followers. Who are you looking for, and what are you looking to bring to your podcast?
Well, I'm still expanding and still exploring exactly where I'm going to go. Things have been opening up, and I've even decided that I'm going to start teaching classes online.
Wow.
And I'll do a business to business networking class, and I've also got one that will be soft networking, social networking for the boomers, those who are retired, who want to get out there and meet new people, go places, do things, start a new business, whatever it is. And then there'll be other types of classes. I'm also a certified hypnotherapist. I'm going to be doing some meditation classes, things like that. The field is wide open for anyone who wants to teach online. And that's part of what I want to do to reach the boomers, because a lot of them are not online yet. They don't understand how it is to get into the media. So we've got to teach them. But first, we have to reach them. And that's the marketing angle.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to close with this because people always want to know, to me, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Okay, so how are we going to generate some revenue with this? And so do you have any suggestions? I have my suggestions, but I'm going to let you lead this part of the conversation, RJ. How would you suggest that someone look into monetizing their podcast? Because again, you can't just be a jobby hobbyist. We're giving this 110%. We got to get a return on our investment. And you've been in radio, professional radio before. Give us some suggestions that you may have for monetizing your show.
Well, one of the things you want to consider is whatever you do, whether it's podcasting, speaking, writing, you always want to add value.
Right.
So as we add value, we give people an opportunity to increase their bottom line as well. So one of the things people have to understand that podcasting really is also about marketing and advertising. So as podcasters, we can monetize our show by letting people know, number one, that we will allow them to have airtime to sponsor, to advertise, and to market their product. So we can sell airtime. We can also, believe it or not, have subscribers, right, where people actually pay to listen to your show. One of the new features for Anchor, if you're familiar with Anchor, which is another podcasting platform, they allow you to charge people to subscribe to your podcast. So that's another way. And if you're familiar with, there's another marketing that it allows you, sorry, it just totally went to the left, down the street and around the corner somewhere. I don't have time to go look for it.
Is it Patreon?
Patreon. There you go, beautiful. Patreon allows you to ask people to support you. And so I'm going to go back to what Lady Lou said, because it's so valuable to answer your question, April. We have to ask.
Right.
Bottom line, ask for what you need. Ask for help. Ask for financial resources. Ask for sponsorship. Ask. Because we have not, because we ask not.
That's right. And a closed mouth do not get fed, especially at podcast potluck, right?
Oh, wait. And I eat very well, honey.
We gonna serve it up. So please tell my friends how to get in contact with you so that they can gain up and build up and spark up their courage. How do they get in contact with you, please, RJ Jackson?
That's a great question. I'd love to connect with you and hold you up to your greatness. You can contact me and find me anywhere online at The Courage Giver. Anywhere online at The Courage Giver. You can check out the Conversations on Courage podcast at conversationsoncourage.com. That's conversationsoncourage.com.
I love you, my sister, and I honor you, and I thank you. And like you said, you had that little star. It's just riding and glowing and illuminating. So you know what? God just kissed that forehead. That's all.
Thank you, beautiful. Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to share my passion, my purpose, and a part of my experience with the world. And I just want to encourage people, especially women, you don't have to live where you're dying, and you certainly don't have to die where you're living.
All right. All right. Thank you, my sister. I love you. I honor you. All right. Lady Lou, I'm going to have you wind it up, okay, and tell us, what is your recipe for success? And, you know, you found podcasting, and I know that it makes you happy, and this is something that you want to do, but how are you finding success in this? How are you growing and developing as a person? Because it's more than just serving others. You know, you got to get a warm fuzzy. You got to get something out of it. What does it do for you?
Well, number one, if it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. And number two, I usually do things I love. And if I don't love it, I just don't do it. I'll look at it and, well, no, that's not for me. We have choices. And this is something a lot of women, in particular, boomers, do not understand. We do have choices. And if it's not something that rings our bell, so to speak, let's go find something that does and be open. That's a lot of times I had a closed mind when I was younger. I thought, oh, but when I started podcasting, I jumped into it about 3 years ago. But the technology got to me. I quit. I couldn't figure out the technology. I don't speak computerese. So 3 years later, I have a friend now who is the computer tech. She and I have teamed up, and I do the front of the camera and she does the back of the camera. And she doesn't want to be in the front and I don't want to be in the back. So you find those people who can share your passion, who can help you with the parts you don't know how to do or don't want to do. I could learn it, I'm sure, but it might take me 30 years. I don't have that kind of time. I want to talk. I want to speak my truth. I want to get out there and talk to the seniors, help them do what they want, not what somebody else told them they should want, or go sit in a corner someplace and wait for death to overtake them, because that's what some seniors have done in the past. No more. Not anymore. We've got so much passion, so much talent, so much love, and we want to share it. And I'm ready there to help. I want to share it with them. They want to share with me. And we want to share it with the world.
Well, you're doing a phenomenal job. Tell my brains how to get in contact with you and how to click on to the Baby Boomer Babe.
It's just that easy. TheBabyBoomerBabe.com is my website. Got a lot of fun things over there and some links on the different shows. And I've also got a YouTube channel. Again, The Baby Boomer Babe. So you can find me just about any place on YouTube. And we've got podcasts on Spreaker and Stitcher and iTunes. So it's all coming together. It's just taking a lot of time to get the technology put together. But we're there. You can find us. And I'm also on Facebook, Lady Lou Dewey. And we have the Baby Boomer Babe Senior Lifestyles, a group page on Facebook. And we just love to have any and all of you come and join us. Thank you again, April. This has been wonderful.
It is so fun. I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to this every month. Now, Brains, again, I don't do a whole lot of visual. My thing is audible, but I am just loving having these ladies here with me, having this conversation. And I want to thank you, each and every one of you Brains. You know why I call you Brains? Because you're smart people. Because I want to give you information and deposit it up under this hat, in the place where you edit, you think, you process, and you recall, and that is in your brain, okay? I want you to come back and follow me on social media at A Good Person Productions. I, too, am all over the planet. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. I love the likes. I like the conversation. Please leave comments. For any of my ladies, they would love to follow up with you. I'm going to continue to do this every month. We're going to be featuring different podcasters all over the universe, from Sweden to South Central LA. And I want to thank Lady Louise for facilitating this for us and doing this. Thank you so much, RJ Jackson. And then we all want to salute and say congratulations and goodbye to Margot, because she had to dip out and get on that crazy 405 in LA. But please go over to On the Edge with April Mahoney at Blog Talk Radio. All of us have books, so please look us up, purchase our books, and get more information. Again, thank you from the bottom of my socks, ladies, because my heart just isn't deep enough.
Oh.
All right, and come back. We're going to be here, okay? I hope you're here with us too. Bye.
Bye. I'll put us in the regular view so we can all wave goodbye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.